Hello, everyone who just joined. We are connecting to live stream, and we will get back to you.
We should be live now.
Good. Just to double check. Hello, everyone. Let's wait a couple of minutes for more people to join. We have today a really interesting event. It's a part of Global AI Developers Day. In a couple of minutes, I will explain more. And for now, just to check that everything is working, the stream is working. We had some technical issues in the beginning. Just to double check. All right. So, okay. It's there. Great. Once again, welcome everyone. Today, we're happy to spend next 2 hours together. What we're gonna do and who we are. My name is Alena Galeva, and I'm here today with another co-organizer of PyLadies Amsterdam. It's Nancy Rosado Mendes. Yes, hello from Nancy. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. I do hope that it's gonna work right now. Cool. Okay, a little bit about us, because we have people who are staying with us for a longer time and attending our workshops, and there are also people who join our workshop the first time. So if you're curious who we are literally PyLadies Amsterdam. Based on the name, you could guess that we are located in the Netherlands. And we focusing mostly on running different events in Amsterdam. We do events online, offline, and mostly what we do, we make sure that our love of Python is spread all over the planet, eventually, all over the globe. Universe. Thanks, Nancy. Indeed. Yeah. And what we do events every month, and the majority of the cases they are workshops. From time to time, we do talks, but our focus most on the workshops. And while we are open to everyone, despite your gender identification or any other binary classifications that you can come up with, we literally want to make sure that we give space for underrepresented people in tech to shine on the stage. So as I mentioned, yes, we do meetups. We do from time to time bootcamps. So if you're curious, you can always visit our website or just be subscribed as you are right now on our meetup page to look for the next event, or YouTube, or whatever you're joining us from. So today we are a part of this Global AI Developer Days. It's based on the name Global. It's indeed a global event that span across the whole, I would say, universe. I haven't seen anything on the moon, but at least there are a lot of nice things coming up. So what these Global AI Developer Days are, eventually it's a hybrid event, as I mentioned, for the whole world. And the aim of this event to show that AI is not so hard. And with the help of the right tools and right people, you can eventually build AI-powered applications, or just to learn how to create the core for this AI-powered application. And today, the 31st of October, and eventually this Developer Days started a couple of days ago from 26th of October, and they are continue up to 4th November. And literally what's going on the first day, it was mostly keynotes, inspiring keynotes. The second day, it was more information about the communities. And now we are in this part of day 3 till days 10. It's literally getting hands-on with your local community. And just to see, that's what's happening right now. So yeah, unfortunately, no moon yet. I do hope that in a couple of years we're gonna manage to fix it. So that's what you see, like all the locations, all the events happening, and it could be workshops, it could be talks, it could be something more inspiring, whatever you want, it's there. And also the Global AI Dev community are the sponsor of the Azure passes that we have today. So this is, you see, that's how big it is. And Ukraine, Belgium, Bulgaria, USA, Nigeria, Canada. So anything that you can come up with. Okay, so now let's focus on literally what's waiting for us. What I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to copy the link to copy this link and put it in our chat. to make sure that everyone is on the same page. So now the link is eventually in our chat. I'm going back to the previous screen. So today we have 3 workshops. We have not enough time to cover all the workshops, but it's up to you in your spare time to do it. We have 3 different flavors of the workshop. I give a brief explanation of each workshop, and then there are eventually 2 flows. So one flow, if you already has your own Azure subscription, or you get the free subscription, whatever works for you, then you can just start with workshops. In case of questions, just raise your hands and we're gonna back to you and gonna help you to solve any questions that or issues that you're experiencing or facing. And if you don't have Azure subscription, there is specific guidance which you need to follow. I will show you where it is to make sure that you can generate the Azure, literally the Azure Pass for yourself. So for those, the next information is for everyone who interested to know what kind of workshops do we have today in our agenda. So just to help you to make choice, literally. And the second part will be for those who doesn't have an Azure subscription. So bear with me. As I mentioned, we have 3 workshops today on our menu list. I would say probably one of the easiest will be this workshop. It's number 2. It's about developing custom object detection model with NVIDIA and Azure Machine Learning. And it's based on Azure Machine Learning Studio, which means that it will be probably more simpler if you're a complete beginner and never did such things before. So in this case, if you just click on the link, it leads you to a workshop with a proper setup of what to do and what are the concrete steps. Then we have the next workshop. It's about literally building and training your own small PyTorch model. And at the end of this workshop, you will learn how to deploy this model using Azure Machine Learning. So it requires a little bit of knowledge of Python. You haven't to be an expert in PyTorch or an expert in Python, but at least some knowledge is highly appreciated. Otherwise, you will definitely manage to finish this workshop, but I'm not pretty sure that it could be done within 2 hours that we have. And the last workshop, I would say it's the hardest workshop from all of that we have. It's, I would say, one of the most interesting because it shows you almost end-to-end cycle of machine learning model and what's going to happen in here. It's the workshop how to build like a patient registration app. So once again, to sum up, I would say workshop 2 will be the easiest. Then we have workshop 3. It's like the next after the workshop 2. And the hardest will be workshop 1. But at the same time, for those who are really curious, okay, I have a model and what's then? How I can use this model? Or what if I already have a model trained by somebody else? How can I eventually like use this model to do something useful with it? And I think that's really nice one. So as I mentioned for workshop 2, if you're going, it just leads you directly to this learning path. So it says you need approximately 2 hours, 25 minutes to finish it. And it goes step by step with a clear explanation what should be done. Then for workshop number 3 with PyTorch and Azure Machine Learning, it eventually leads you to this GitHub repository where you have different labs. And of course, you see the lab 1, lab 2. So please do it in this exact sequence, which will help you to literally set up everything in the correct order. And the last one, this one, it's gonna lead you to workshop introduction, where you will work on this new patient registration form with Azure Form Recognizer. I would like to add a little bit of information about this form recognizer. So literally, Azure Form Recognizer, it's a ready-made service. What does it mean? That Azure developers already created a machine learning model, trained it, and what you're gonna do, you're gonna use this model to literally retrain current model on your own data and then use it, or in order to spare time, you, in this case, in the setting of this workshop, you're going to just use it as it is. So it's already pre-trained model, ready to recognize what's in the specific form. And I would say that the problem of form recognizer is pretty hard, because in the majority of the cases, there are millions of, I don't know, like gazillions of options how the form of patient registration form can look like. So it's really hard for machine to read it. So to make sense from it, you need to know which building blocks in the form is, and if it's printed form, it's one story, but if it's handwritten form, it's another story. So we're going to see what we can achieve today at least. So getting back to the setup, if you already has your subscription, if you already have your own Azure environment, so just start with one of the workshop that you want to try to at least start and open and continue to working on it today. And for those who doesn't have it, what you can do, I think probably the better option will be if you raise your hand. So based on your raised hand, I'm going to send you the event number, because that's what you need. So now this is information for those who doesn't have own Azure subscription. So here in the GitHub link that I shared with you, you have an instruction on how to get your own Azure subscription. For this, you will need follow this link. It's just a link, check-in link from Global AI Community. You will need to enter your name and a real email, because if email will be not real, you not get a link, literally, to generate your own Azure subscription pass. Then you will need to wait literally for email, confirmation email. In this confirmation email, there will be activation link. And in this activation link, you need to provide the event code. So for those who are going to raise the hand in our GTC meeting right now, with these people, I'm going to share the event code. So with this event code, you will be eventually able to get your Azure Pass. And I will get back to a screen because I don't see you yet. Wait a second. So great. So for those who raise in hands, I will provide this number. So me personally and Nancy will be here until 8 o'clock today, 8 o'clock Amsterdam time, for those who are joining us from our time zone. And literally, okay, yeah, it's great. Thanks. Just people start raising hands. So if you have any questions, we are here to answer it. There is no such a thing like a stupid question. We are all here to learn. And you see, it's not only Nancy here to learn, Nancy Cat as well. So I think it's a really nice learning opportunity to all of us. So for those who raised the hand, please literally continue with following the instructions, and I will be sharing the code with you. I will temporarily switch off the sharing of the screen, so then I can distribute codes safely with you. Okay. So now screen is not shared, mine at least. So we are all in the meeting. And for Adriana, if I'll pronounce your name correct, and for Lena, I'm sharing the event code. Just stay with me, bear with me. Okay, so for okay, so for them. And now send private message to. Okay, so now Lena and Adriana, I send you private messages. If you get the message, you can just drop raising your hand. So now we know that you raise your hands, you get your codes, and you don't need anything, at least for the next couple of minutes from us. Okay, I get that, Lena. Get the codes, great. Cool. Okay. And Okay. Good. Okay, so now I see if I pronounce the name correctly, Georgia as well shared the hint. So my assumption is you also require the code. So I'm going to send you code as well. Okay, Georgia, I send you the code. So just double check, is everything great? Then you can continue. Okay, if there are any people who joined a little bit later, so probably the parts that you missed, in the chat, you can find the link to our GitHub repository. In this GitHub repository, there are eventually information how to pick up one of the workshops that you would like to work on today. If you have your own Azure subscription, you can just start with any of the workshops you're interested. In case of questions, you raise your hand or unmute yourself, and Nancy or me going to answer this question. In case if you need an Azure subscription, on a GitHub there is an instruction how to get the Azure Pass, and for this you need an event code. So if you need an event code, you can just raise your hand and I will send you an event code in a private message. So in this way, we'll make sure that everyone gets the code. Okay, and in the meantime, we'll clean the tabs and then see what do we have. I think I probably gonna take a look at this new patient registration with Azure Form Recognizer, because that's I'm really interested in. Personally, I'm just curious because it's ready-made model for you, so I can just literally start looking into it and looking what kind of information is necessary to get, and I will do it. I'm gonna do it in my own pace to make sure that I do not interrupt you. But for now, use this time until 2 o'clock literally to ask your questions, raise a hand or unmute yourself, and we'll be helping you today. Okay, and I see there is just in the meantime, one of our participants sent an email, so I will. Okay, I don't have the link. Okay, I'm gonna share the link to this event so the person can join our event as well. Copy link. I think, Nancy, we need to come up with some kind of, chill music in the background.
I can try, but I don't know if my chill would be.
Yeah, will be what is your definition of chill, right? Okay, I will go back. Please, I will just type in the middle. Please join this meeting. Okay, in the meantime, I answered the email. So one of our, let's say, community members just joined it from YouTube, and that's why I was confused. Where are we sharing the codes? So I just redirect this person to our safe Jitsi zone, so we can get further with it. Okay. Activation link, anything that we have. And if you're confused which workshop to choose, you can also get back to us. We're gonna help you. I know there are 3 of them and you want to try all 3 of them. You can, but we need to time box our efforts for today. After this 8 o'clock, probably you can continue to work on other workshops as well. Okay, yes, thanks. Now you hear Demi. Great. So Demi, I'm gonna share. I do hope that you heard the previous information before. If not, I will briefly sum up what we are doing. So brief summary, there is a GitHub link. On this GitHub link, there are 3 workshops. The easiest workshop is the workshop number 2. Then a little bit more difficult is workshop number 3. And the most difficult workshop is workshop number 1. And as far if you don't have an Azure Pass, there is an instruction on how to get it. And for this instruction, number 5 is enter the event code. So Demi, I'm gonna share this event code with you right now in the private message. And instructions how to get the pass are in this GitHub link that is shared here in our chat. Okay, so I get in back. Oh, no, I don't want to start this one. I don't need that. So I'm getting back to Demi. Good. Okay. Up. Send private message. Okay, Demi, I just sent you the private message. If you get the code, you can lower your hand. So now, in this way, we will know that you get the code. Okay, great. Look, today we had the most passionate and the most compliant Pythonistas. Cool.
It's going very well indeed. So.
But it's just the beginning, though. We will see.
And it is Halloween in America and some other parts.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right. You know, I would say for some of the people, Halloween started like on Friday.
For some people that you know somewhere.
Okay. And just like a side note, usually if we run workshops, it's only one workshop given by a workshop giver with explanations of how to continue, what to do. And today we're running this like a hybrid mode with 3 types of workshops because we are part of a global AI community. So we are part of the big global AI community event that happens right now all over the world. And as Nancy pointed in the right way in the whole universe. So yeah, we'll see. So, and there is also in requirements on the GitHub repository, it was mentioned, stated that you need Visual Studio Code and Azure subscriptions. If you don't have Visual Studio Code IDE and you prefer to work with PyCharm or any other IDEs, it's okay. We recommended Visual Studio Code just in case it has like all integrations with Azure services, all extensions, and it's just more easier. But if you are a diehard fan of PyCharm or any other, I don't know, like Spider or whatever, feel free to use it as well. And just like from my personal experience, it depends on the task, the language you're working with. So I'm a heavy user of Visual Studio Code somehow because I'm working with at least 3 languages usually and 2 different clouds. So for me, it's much more easier to keep everything in one place. But for example, some of my colleagues, they prefer to keep different IDs for different purposes. It's just a matter of your own preference, I would say. I'm just wondering for Nancy, what is your preference?
IntelliJ, and I bought it. I paid. I really like it, and I'm also using a lot now Android Studio because I mean maybe I can use IntelliJ, but it has some more extra things Android Studio, so it has some buttons right there.
Cool.
Yeah, and it works. To use it now for Python. I usually switch to IntelliJ. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just like a matter of personal preferences.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I'm just curious for those people who get the codes. Have you succeeded in getting your Azure Pass in your mail? I'm just wondering. You can also probably, I don't know, like raise the hand if you succeeded. Or is still, okay, good. At least one, it's already great. Cool. Yeah, thanks, Lena. Yeah. Okay, and the rest of the people, I assume, are still in the process. Okay, good.
I created a poll just out of curiosity.
So sweet. Thanks a lot. Ooh, Nancy created a really nice poll. So if you want to be, if you have if you want to have a short break, you can answer the poll. I'm really curious what will be the workshop of the day today. Because I'm thinking, just in case, if everybody will pick up the same workshop, probably we'll just continue step by step with this workshop, just in case. If not, also okay. So it's not something that.
I'm also looking at workshop 1 with the
Patient registration form. Yeah. And for those who's starting workshop 1, there are some prerequisites to set it up. And the prerequisites is about, or is your machine capable of running Docker? Do you have enough memory and everything to do it? And if it's the bottleneck in your case, or for example, you're joining us from your company laptop where you're not allowed to use Docker, then there are as well an option to do it with Azure container instances. So in this case, you will outsource the work. You will not develop locally. You're going to develop using Azure resource, but it will be covered in your Azure subscription as well. Just like extra information. And I'm going to mute myself for a second. I'm just going to grab a copy, a copy of a cup, of course. Okay, this was the presentation with the workshop. Okay, good. So good. It was a presentation with the workshop. Yeah, we'll see. We don't know. Probably there will be a presentation of the workshop. We don't know yet. We will see, right?
Yeah, it can be, but yeah.
Oh, there's a question from Demi. I will answer it too, because I think it's pretty valid question. So the question is, would the Azure subscription be forever available for us, or would it be expired within several hours? So there is not such a thing, unfortunately, as a forever Azure subscription. Usually, if it's given, it's given for a specific period of time. One thing that I know for sure, it definitely wouldn't be expired within several hours. So how this subscription is organized, you get a specific amount of credits. So think about it as money. And as soon all the money is used, then literally, if you want to continue using the subscription, you need to pay money to make sure that you get more credits. So I would say this subscription is enough to try out all 3 workshops, definitely. Only one thing to remember: after each workshop, you need to make sure that you clean everything up. So for each workshop, there is, so I saw definitely for workshop 2 and workshop 1, there was a cleanup, how to remove all resources. And for workshop 3, if it's not there, you just need to make sure that as soon as you're done the workshop, you need to remove the resource group that you're going to create. Think about resource group like box where you put all the resources that you're going to be used during this workshop. And if you remove this resource group, then there will be nothing that's going to eat these credits, which means that probably you can reuse this subscription for a couple of more things. So to summarize, it's not eternal subscription. This subscription will not expire in several hours. This subscription is based on amount of credits that is available, and it will be enough for 3 workshops if you clean up the resources after each workshop.
So two people answered about workshop 2. So
Okay, yeah, because probably it's like this the easiest one, but it also great. I think we also can take a look at it as well, because it has some interesting twist in it with NVIDIA part, because it's like NVIDIA GPU accelerated virtual machines. So labeling project, data set. Because in the workshop number 2, the most interesting part is deploy model to NVIDIA Triton inference server. That's the most interesting part of it. Sorry, for me, at least. Okay, and we'll see then what kind of other workshops picked up. And I remember I wanted to grab a cup of tea, so I will do it. I will be with you in the room. I just mute myself and not letting you all listening how I preparing this delicious cup of tea.
go for it.
Oh, cool. I saw in the meantime there's already setup of the subscription happened. Great. And less than a minute, I will be back. I'm proud. I made it.
Uh-huh.
Now we can continue. Do you have any more answers, Nancy, about which workshop? Do we have somebody who doing workshop not number 2?
Yeah, 2 people are doing workshop number 2 and 1 person workshop number 3.
Oh, cool. Interesting. Okay. Interesting to see there are different interests in different parts of it. That's great. By the way, Nancy, thanks for posting on the YouTube channel. That's, yeah, if you want to join and ask questions, go here.
Sure.
Great.
So workshop 2 apparently uses AutoML. I cannot find this. Is it like some Microsoft implementation or is it?
It's a Microsoft implementation. So you have this Azure ML option, and you can literally like set up the parameters that you want, like the search space, the models that you want to try, the time, like, and then just to start it. And there are like say two options, two mode of using it. One mode is from Azure Machine Learning Studio, which is graphical user interface. Eventually, you do it from there, or other option number two. When you do it via code, you can also literally use it. It's like as a service.
Like the process itself is so built by Microsoft, or are they using some other library? I'm trying to find it, but I cannot see.
I think it's like there are different implementation of it, different cloud providers. There are probably some code that is reused, but then the rest is, let's say, hidden by each cloud provider and so on.
At my previous employer, I had used one of those called Teapot. And it was pretty good.
There are also there are different platforms, for example, that also offers this AutoML capabilities. So, and I assume that everyone just use like their own option or just build upon something like core capabilities that's up. Because in the majority of the cases, you need to pick up, let's say, type of the models that you want to use. You need to pick up, you need to put some limitations, right, on it, and then let it fit the data in the best possible way or the most efficient way, I would say. And the whole point of Azure Machine Learning Studio is that you shouldn't be an expert to do it. So for example, if you're really knowledgeable business analyst or like any other type of subject matter expert, so you literally can train, label, train, and deploy your own model without any, like, it's like, let's say, low code implementation. So we can do it without writing any piece of code. So it also could be a really valuable tool. And they have, I know, pre-made setup. When I say we, they have Azure, they have pre-made setup like templates for specific industries. For example, if you are from manufacturing, then there are specific like the template setup which you can reuse, or like what are the most common problem for manufacturing, for example, and you can just like reuse this setup. So that was really cool when I saw it the first time, and they're like polishing it constantly.
Sounds very useful indeed, and people then already have an idea what is possible. Sometimes even that is difficult to note.
Yeah, and Azure Machine Learning as a product is mostly, I usually say it's like a constructor based on what you want. You can pick up specific components and do it. But for me, it's just a way to set up the whole system properly, starting from getting data, registering data set, moving to training model with experiment tracking, picking up any type of compute that you need for model training, and eventually ending up with full observability of your deployed model. So it's more like manage something for you. Oh, what's going on? Wait a second. Oh, my cat is sleeping next to me, and probably he dreams and he's moving and making crazy sounds. It's like, what's going on?
There's some feedback that
Yeah. I was just thinking, like you can brand like Azure Machine Learning Studio, even cats can use it.
cat to recognize other cats on images. Haha.
Okay, so we have a question from Jamie. Where can I launch Studio after deploy the workspace? So my assumption is it's the workshop number 2 because I see the word studio, right? Just let me take a quick look. It was the second one. If it's studio. Yeah, sure. Yeah, please, Demi, please unmute yourself and share your screen. Yeah, I think it will be much more easier to find it out. Oh, workshop number 3. Okay. Yeah, please do. Only one thing, if you are using Google Chrome latest version, it can give you errors that you are not capable of sharing your screen, and that's the problem I faced today. So I just open it as another one. Oh, cool, you have it. Great. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So create this resource group. Yeah. Yeah, it's your resource group, and if you click on it, yes. So look what you created. You created 5 components. So first component is a container registry. This is the place where all Docker images will be stored. A second is the Azure Machine Learning. So, and then you see Studio Web URL. Oh, no, wait, get back. So click on it, great, yes. And you see Studio Web URL. Studio Web URL from the right side, right, to the right, yes, if you click on it. No. So when you're setting up Azure Machine Learning Workspace, it's set up 5 components by default. Only thing, if you're sharing the only one tab, we keep seeing this PyLadies Microsoft Azure. Have you managed to click on this link and the link opens something for you? Because we don't see the pop-up. We're hearing you typing. So I assume that it's open and you find it, right, Demi? I do. I hope. Yeah. Okay. Yes, great. Yeah, yes, Demi. Yeah, correct. So if you click on this link and it's open you the whole Azure Machine Learning part, that's you get it. Only one thing, it's Azure Machine Learning. Yeah, web interface. Yeah, that's it. Cool. It's workshop number 3. Yeah. So I'm just briefly check. Okay, so it was Azure Machine Learning Workspace. Create workspace. Yeah. Good. Based on the cats, it looks like it was a Halloween nightmare.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Nancy, I'm wondering how far you went with this form recognizer.
I stopped when I saw other people were, how do you say, looking at the other workshops. But I was actually just trying to see the training data.
I'm curious.
They have some where I couldn't find it. And now I'm looking at the other one, workshop 2, and that one indeed. So it uses AutoML.
Yeah, still at the lab one. Yeah, cool. That's okay. Like, take your time. Like, we are not in a hurry. We see how much we can do today, and then you can continue tomorrow.
We can go through one. We can just pick one, maybe workshop 2 or 3 if you want.
Yeah, but what I was thinking, if we gonna through, it's gonna distract other people who work in another workshops. So it's like,
Yeah, we would have to maybe all switch.
yeah, because it's a combination of information that you need to read. You need focus on what you're reading. Then you need to try it out. If it's working, it's great. If it's not, then you walk into the next step. So it's more like that. Yeah. Anyway, just in case, we can always later rerun one of the workshops that will be deemed as really, really interesting. Probably that with the patient registration form. Who knows? Not in November, but probably in December. Just as an option.
I was curious because I guess it's also patient data, right? Then workshop 1.
What was suspicious for you? Let's see.
No, I'm just thinking not suspicious, but the it's patient data, I guess.
Patient data, sorry. They're good too, yeah. Oh, yeah. I just realized, Nancy, that I was reading carefully the description of the workshop that I put. And for this patient registration made easy with AI services, I put that, yeah, for this workshop, chosen a patient registration for doctor surgery. It's something we all had to do at some point. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, indeed. I understood it, but indeed, if someone is missing the background, they may be like, "What?" But yeah. It's maybe also realistic. Most of us, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. But there is, let's say, one thing, one common topic that all these 3 workshops has in common. So first, you're setting up the environment, you're setting up the resources which is needed. It's like in the workshop 2 and 3 is this Azure Machine Learning resources, and in the first workshop it's cognitive services, so the form recognizer, and then just the way how you link together specific resources, how you use them, and then you get your end result eventually. Because this one with patient registration, it has this So there is like this fictional company name, which is basically used for almost all hands-on workshops, and it's used in all training of Microsoft. It's Contoso. That's the company that doesn't exist, and like there's all the data set and everything that is literally generated, to make sure that it's reflect the real world situation. So everything is based around this like Contoso story. So this patient registration made it easy. It was
So it should be like people's handwriting, right? Or maybe one or a couple of people at the hospital do that. I don't know.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is literally like you're working with dummies.
Dummy data, you mean?
Yeah. But also the whole story of the company, it's also that's what I'm saying, that the company doesn't exist, it's just the company they use in
Indeed.
trainings, learning.
Anthony, the doctor, right? Like Dr. Anthony.
It's also really funny for this year because like we're doing not the first event with Global AI community. We used to have Global AI bootcamp. We used to have Global AI days. So Global AI days, it was, remember Nancy, that was the one offline. And then the Global AI bootcamp that was online, where we were sitting in my apartment upstairs and running it like for 4 hours.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, let's say, not the first one event. And the funniest part that for Global AI Bootcamp there was a keynote, and then this keynote was also have to be for Global AI Developer Days. So literally, I announced it on agenda and everywhere. And then a specific moment today, I was like, wait a second, where are the link to the keynote? And I said, no, like there are, you can pick up anything you want. So literally, like there is no one keynote that we have. We decided to give the opportunity to fill it, the form the way you want, because there are enough information from 26th of October up to date. So that's why there was no specific keynotes that should be given. It's like, great.
Yeah, last year was also in October, indeed, in person.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so October, it's like 1 year ago, yeah. And then this one, the bootcamp that we were doing in January eventually. It was January, yeah. I remember it was January, and it was weekends. It's usually we don't do anything on weekends, but we made an exception to make sure that this 4-hour long bootcamp can happen. That was rookie request for food.
Indeed. So about to start the concert.
Okay. Yeah, but we need to double check the stream on YouTube, because sometimes it says it's on and then it's not there. Yeah.
I think we are.
Double check the stream. Yep. I just heard myself.
Yes.
Good. So this 1 hour limit, and it's like on our bucket list to investigate it later after the event.
If I remember right, it's always been happening. Wait, we started at 1/2 so I guess 30 minutes. Right? No, we started at 6, right? So 1 hour, yeah.
Yeah, the stream was on the 6, yeah. Okay. But we're already halfway through, so good. I decided to go to check a look at the data. I was curious.
Which one are you looking at?
For number 1, because I just wanted to look to see, to check. I didn't check the data set before. I just curious to see how the data set looks like.
Did you find it?
It's in the wait. So it's when you go to Azure Form Recognizer part, there is a part says upload training data. So it's like underneath. So Azure Form Recognizer, you can it's like has like a drop down list, and second is upload training data.
And there, did you find already training data?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Which folder? Called blob. Yeah, so it should be in the wait. It should be in the create services. Because
But of course, they for this they don't need to use patient data to train it, right? So,
yeah, but it's already it's already pre-trained models, so it's literally model exposed via API, and you call the API, and you're paying for like per calling API. There are specific limits, but there are still this like custom template which we using.
I'm thinking then this one probably just is like some character recognition, and so it doesn't. It could help a little bit if you have like training data. It's got contains something from the domain, but not necessarily, right? If it's just recognizing handwriting.
No. One second. It's not just recognizing handwriting. First, it's recognizing the structure, and based on the structure, it extracts this information, and it's not handwriting, it's typed. So it's not handwritten, it's typed. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Then. Okay, then. Well, I'm thinking there about, because the structure of the form, if you have like millions at the hospital, why would you want to, I mean, like you maybe have millions of patients, but they all use the same form, right? So, but then if it's typed, then, I mean, is it just like scanning? Then
Yeah, but scanning, you need to have the physical device to scan it, all of it. And in this case, if you can just literally
yeah, but what's the challenge? Like if it's just typed, it always looks the same, the letters, right? So
challenge in digitalizing it, that's where the challenge coming in.
yeah, what's the challenge? Okay.
Okay, so the training data are in the, so if you're doing this workshop, in the specific moment, there is, so if you go to install prerequisites, you have a step called clone the patient registration assets repo. And it leads you to literally like to GitHub Repo. And there is a folder called training data, and it contains JPEG files eventually. So, oh no, it's handwritten. It's handwritten, Nancy. It's handwritten. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, it's handwritten. It's like the same form, and then it's handwritten. Yeah. It's the same form, handwritten, indeed. And also in this form, you have, I have like sample of this form, so you know what should you put where. And then you have as well this form, you have labels. And you have labels at least for 4 languages. It's for Chinese, English, Portuguese, and Spanish. And if I'm going, for example, to English, so you have the corresponding image, and next to it you have a corresponding JSON file. So literally with labels. Because first it's necessary like to recognize how the structure of the document looks like. So we have the same format, and just literally like placing bounding boxes on a specific chunks of information and knowing what kind of text you expose to extract from it. And you have labels for different forms, right? And you also have JSON for fields. So you have literally each field, and it's try to understand what kind of field you have in this form, what is the type, and other like any specific format to it, something like this. So based on all of that, it's literally compounds and an example.
It says so the nurse and the doctor, they use the patient registration to understand any existing allergies or medicine reactions. So
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, because then you have, this is literally, I will just wait a second. It's, let me open this and share the screen for a second.
So it's like in the emergency department, when you have to operate within, I don't know, half an hour. Then.
Yeah, so now I'm sharing the screen, right? So yeah, here, as I mentioned, that's this GitHub repo where it lead us to, and it has literally them in this assets. So we have training data, training label. That's exactly the repo that you cloning to work with. So that I was saying, that's how the training data looks like.
There is one. Okay.
You see like the form and that, and then you have apart from it, you have this training labels. That's what I mentioned. There are 4 languages: Chinese, English, Portuguese, and Spanish. For now, I will open English. And in English, you have, for example, for example, we have this example. And you see there is different boxes. You have like patient details, you have contact details, you have gender, identity, pronouns, you have emergency contact, and you have also allergies and medicines. So that's exactly a list of allergies and intolerances to medications. And here you have your reaction, describe your reaction, and then signature and date. And then you have these labels. And you see, so it literally like they have specific schema, and then the bounding boxes where each. So first, just like so, literally the first step is just to locate bounding boxes, where like what kind of information, just to grasp the structure of the document. And then you have for JSON, for OCR, for optical character recognition. That's what you had, like the information from each box. And in addition to that, you also have JSON for fields, where what I mentioned, like field type string, field key family name, field type string, given name string, date of birth string, address string. So literally for now, just recognizing everything as strings. Yeah. So that's for this part. And if you go to form, yeah, again, if you go to form, we have English, for example, English and English with fields. Yeah. And that's literally like the basic skeleton of the document. So I assume you can have up to 3 allergies, and there could be up to 3 reaction. But I still want to emphasize that even though you have this form, even though you have predefined fields, we still can have people, for example, who are going to list allergy not as a list, but they can bundle. Imagine if the person bundle allergies, for example, here, and like reactions, all reactions here, then you will have like the difficulty of still like parsing the allergies. So instead of having 3 separate allergy and dedicated reaction to each allergy, I assume you're going to have just bundle of allergies and bundle of reaction. I'm saying that just to show that for a person, probably it will be easy to understand, but for a machine, literally that's going to read this, yeah, it will be a confusion. So that's why we have these fields and different languages. Nancy, I'm not a really good reader.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, it's the same, right? So I mean,
Yeah. I do hope.
you're still at Contos healthcare in Spanish.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how this looks like. Wait, I'm just curious. Oh, it's view raw. Okay, let's view raw. No, I don't want to. No, okay. Probably, it probably requires some deciphering. Okay, so that's what I was saying about this. And for this form recognizer, so that's what step of uploading data, where you're uploading them, and then it allows you to pick up like a custom model which extract key value pairs, selection marks, tables, and more from forms and documents. And that was like their example of custom from models, custom document models. That's why first my assumption was that it's just like type data. But then when I take a look at the training data, indeed they are eventually handwritten. And you have this labeling form included, so you can literally label to know where to look for which part. And that's here you have these labels in different languages, so English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Chinese. Yeah, and that's the form which then I try to understand. Oh, you see that you also extract this part, so to make sure that we know which language it belongs to. So then probably there will be also additional work of translation. Yeah, allergies. And that's what I was saying, you see, so allergy row 1, allergy row 2, allergy row 3, and then reaction row 1, row 2, row 3. But imagine if the person just bundle all the things on one line, for example. Or you have like the bounding box for the form, so you know that this part is allergies. But what if the person writes something down and it's outside, the form, let's say, box, because you still have here some space from the left and from the right.
Yeah, they
So,
can
yeah.
also misspell it right or
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, indeed. And then when we go to our app, so just like simple, really simple app running on static web app, then in this app, yeah, there is idea to integration. Scroll down. Yeah, float registration form. Okay, so for those who are going to do it, it's even just adding some .NET code to it. That's weird, but we'll get back to it. Okay, I will stop sharing my screen for now. Oh, yep, not sharing it. Good. Form. I just take a quick peek on the on this flow, and the flow eventually saying that so you have the patient that completes this form by hand, then patient literally scan it with the help of the like web application. It's in this way that's just uploaded there, or and then this web app uses underneath a form recognizer which extracts the data from this form, and then app returns like this data to the patient for validation to make sure that it recognizes correctly, and then after that literally the data are added to the system after some also validation of the admin, and data is stored. And the thing is, from one side, you can say, yeah, but if you ask a person to do it, why not to let the person fill in form online? But that's where we getting back to the old school hardcore hospitals, which despite all the digitalization, you still have to have, like for compliance purposes, all this, like handwritten stuff for verification. Yeah, so that's something that could hold back. And this is a really nice example when you have like technology to enhance and speed up the processes while the legislation is holding it back eventually.
Yeah, I guess it's also a bit practical, right? The paper will never fail. I mean, you can still have errors in the paper, but if there's like problems with the electricity or something, you might
Yeah,
still want to
sure.
use paper.
Yeah, indeed. For those who are busy with workshops, I'm just curious at which parts of in which workshop you're working and at which parts of the workshop you are right now. I'm just curious. Okay, so we have workshop number 3. Okay, it's this PyTorch lab. Okay, lab number 2, create your first PyTorch model. Cool. And this is with MNIST dataset, of course, with handwritten numbers. That's a pretty big chunk. It's the creation of the first PyTorch model where you get, let's say, the data loader, the network, epoch training, validation, working on overfitting, plotting, and also even visualizing some network weights. So it's pretty intense part, I would say, especially if you're doing it the first time. So yeah, cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's pretty the long one. Good. Oh, it's a really nice question. Okay, so Azure Notebook is saying that the training data is downloading, but where exactly the data being downloaded? So you're working in Azure Notebook. Azure Notebook has specific resources attached to it. One resource, this is a compute that helps you to run Notebook. And second is memory that is available to run this notebook. So if there is you're using Python to download this MNIST data, so eventually a handwritten data set. And what's going at this moment, it's just downloading all this data to the memory. And if it's really big one, then I will just double check the code, what it says when you just load in the data. Just a second. It says your notebook. I'm just checking if there are anything in the code that says like store on the blob or something. And if it's not, then it just loads everything in memory, I assume, to make sure that the next how do you say it's the next part of the workshop is going to be do it. Okay, you're showing us. Wait a second. Yeah, if you scroll a little bit up, okay. So what's going on is you say data train. Okay, you take the data sets, dot data, yes, and download true, transform, and it immediately transform into tensor. So it's pick up downloading, yes. So it's pick up the tarball, zipped tarball, and then it says it shows you see 2 dot dash data MNIST raw train images. So it's pick up, yep, and then you have your lab. Just wait a second. And if you scroll down a little bit. Okay, you see it says extracting. So below the green bar, it says extracting data MNIST raw from the zipped file to .data MNIST raw. So in this case, it's done. Good. So there is, so for this notebook, there is compute attached, and also in the Azure Machine Learning, you have a blob storage attached to it. So it's an object storage where you literally can download stuff. So here I don't see that it says explicitly download there, but underneath it's eventually dropping this data or keeping it in the memory. And if it's too big to keep in the memory, it just dropping it on the blob storage to be reused. What you can do, so from the left side, you have different icons from the left side. And one of the icons corresponds to the, no, it's not environments. Wait. Now up, it's compute. So we have data. If you click on it, yeah. Data assets, data stores. And if you click on data stores, for now it's, you see what's happening. So you have 2 data stores. You have workspace blob store and workspace artifact store. So literally these are the folders on your blob storage. Yeah. And this is where it's literally uses by default to drop the data. So if the data is too big, it just keeping the data there. And if you want to look at the data, how they looks like, you need to scroll down a little bit, scroll below, you have a blob container, it gives the name, and you have storage URI, yes. But to look at something in the blob container, usually, what was the name of this? So there is an additional thing that you need to install to make sure that you can browse it and open from your laptop. But for now, it's literally dropping in them on the blob storage if it's too big, and if it's too small, it's not dropping it anywhere, it just keeps it in the memory. That's what's happening right now. Because when you are creating this Azure machine learning, it's created, if you go back to the, remember that you were sharing your screen and showing us the resource group part, because now you're in this Azure Machine Learning Studio, and you're also in the basic Azure portal. In this Azure portal, it was showing you there are 5 things created for you, and then from that place you were clicking on Azure Machine Learning, and then you were going to URI. Oh, you see, it's already so the numbers. That's good. Yes, you just showed them. And it says data training, just pick up something from data train. Yeah, so my assumption is it's just going to memory or offloaded to blob storage, literally like object storage. Good. And the MNIST data set, as I would say, it's not really a big one. But I think probably it's the most used data set, which you can find on the internet. It's like a golden set, I would say. Other participants, how it's going in your case? Just wondering. Unless you're really in the flow, focused on getting to the end of the workshop. Nancy's back.
Yeah, sorry, I needed to stop.
Come on. We are not glued to the screen. Okay, and just do mute. Time for quick snack. Oh, we have the 30 minutes. And then we're gonna round up. Oh, no. By the way, Nancy, I was really could help with this question about how this AutoML is working. So indeed, it's ready-made service, automated machine learning. Yeah, it was literally like implementation of specific actions that you can take on on a specific data set that you upload, and it's indeed underneath some code. And what do you see mostly? Just implementation of it. So you just pick up something from least prescribed criteria, then it's do it for you. And it also has two options, or you uses this no code UI, or you just install an SDK and work with SDK.
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah. And then there are also like really nice tutorials available. It's official Azure machine learning resources exactly about this. For example, how to use Python SDK to use AutoML. They call it automated machine learning eventually. And it's like in development right now, because I see that SDK's version was number 1. And when I see V1, it means that V2 is in development. Usually it's like this. Otherwise, it will be just SDK. Just, Python SDK Azure ML. And it has different components. So there is components called Azure Azure Datasets, which is responsible literally for this data processing part, to extract, to transform, to clean the data. And then this like training part with associated compute to it. And then some like model accuracy calculations, A little bit, they try to sprinkle there a little bit of responsible AI, so like an explainable AI, to make sure that you can take a look why exactly this model was chosen and what are, for example, the most important features. So this kind of analysis around it. Yeah. I was just checking this one. I will show you. I need to open it somewhere on a different browser to make sure that I can share it. Yes, and I will share my screen now. Okay, if it's great, then you seen it. You seen it, right, Nancy?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. So that's you have this train regression model without ML and Python, and that's what I was saying about SDK V1. So, and I see that it was like updated literally like a couple of weeks ago, and based on the documentation and my own experience, if I see V1, it means that V2 in development. Yeah, and that's like this components that you have, the constraints that you want to put in it, and you have option, for example, here no code model. So here you have like no code tutorial where you're working with the studio, the data set. So literally, this is how does it work. So you see everything. You pick up the schema if you need. You define then exactly which compute you want to use, which amount of nodes, any other stuff attached to it. And then based when you did it, you have also this possibility of model exploration. That's what it said, and model explanation as well. For example, you see you have here in a specific run, you can pick up specific features and toggle them and see what's happening. And then based on the literally like here you have like voted ensemble to pick up the specific model. Yeah, and then just like cleaning up all the resources. So or no codes or just like Python SDK. I think that was pretty much close to us. Oh, it's by the way this New York taxi data set. Cleaning of the data, workspace, training settings. Yeah, and that's here where you literally set up the settings for HTML. And that's the amount of settings that you could literally here, even though look, you have even more than that. Oh wait, where are the settings? I will close that part. Yeah, so this is limited settings, and if it says all the settings, experiment type, data source format, compute, settings. Yeah. So I think that it's just like the subset of them that's available. So you pick up iteration timeouts, experiment timeouts, early stopping if it's possible, primary metric, that's exactly what you want to optimize for. Then you have like option even for creating like featureization if it's necessary. Yeah, verbosity just for logging, and then cross validation if you perform cross validation. But I suppose there's like more to that because like not everywhere you want to use, for example, cross validation. Depends on what kind of problem you're working at, and that is exactly that's what you give an output. And with some widgets for Jupyter, you can also see something like this. But it's more, I think, domain that is more probably clear to you than, with all this like visual graphics and all of that. Okay, I will stop sharing the screen for now.
I was wondering if it's in-house, like the library itself for the LTML, or did they integrate some library?
I think integrate. But what I know, so literally as I mentioned, there are like I saw it at different cloud providers. Each of the cloud providers claim that's what we made, that's what we did.
They don't say.
Yeah.
And they're not open source, right? You cannot go look at it.
Yeah. But I think like the idea is the same. You just literally mapping. You have specific like a skeleton, right? And that's exactly where the settings come from. And that's based on that you define in which way. Sometimes, if I'm not mistaken, you can also pick up, for example, I'm working on this kind of problem. So for this kind of problem, I want to pick up only these types of algorithms. So you can like narrow it down sometimes for a specific. For example, I just want to have, I don't know, like for this classification task, or yeah, let's say classification task, I want to use I want to use decision trees, or I want to use a random forest only. I don't want to see any other type of algorithm popping up. So you can literally like narrow it down to specific subset of algorithms. Sometimes it could be too broad. Once I came across one of I don't remember the name of the platform exactly, but it was literally like not allowing you to picking up what do you want. And it was pretty strange because yeah, I want to find the best fit, right? I want to find what will be the best algorithm, what will be for this specific data, but I also want to limit probably the search space. I do not want to have like deep neural networks or something, but in that case it was literally impossible. And every time it was literally for each problem, doesn't matter how hard or simple problem was, it was offering really, I would say, questionable solution. So, but it was X amount of years ago. That's where I was a little bit skeptical about that. But now, I mean, with the possibilities, I think it's very, very valuable, especially for those who doesn't have training and doesn't know, like at least for these people, as I mentioned, people without coding experience who just want to try it out and understand what kind of value it could bring. I think it's a really powerful tool.
I agree indeed. I mean, it's very similar to what a data scientist would do.
And I think in the hands of talented data science, it also has enormous value because it's a lot. Imagine if you're working, I don't like on 5 problems at the same time in parallel. So it's also will help you to speed up the process drastically. Buongiorno, Rufini. Come. And Rufus woke up. Come. No. He's not interested in listening about AutoML at all. Oh. Okay. The last quarter. So for those who are still standing, you are the best workshop attenders, I would say. Thank you for being with us, even though it's evening, even though it's too late, and you had the full working day before, and you're still working on learning and acquiring new skills. It's a really valuable experience, I would say.
Somehow the YouTube says that we have 186 views, but I don't know how that happened. But,
I'm really curious as well. You mean for this video, Nancy? Or for this live stream?
yeah, indeed. So while it's live, this is 186 views.
Yeah, but it's live. That's what I'm seeing as well. Good. Let it be.
Just adding it. All right. I'm not sure. I think it's adding it. What?
But it's, as I mentioned, it's like probably just like because it's a part of, so you can get a lot of things, and right now it's happening all over the world. So what do you want? Oh, okay, now he wants. It's terrible, cat. Terrible. And for those, for example, like who is with us right now, not for those who are gonna rewatch it later. Of course, also I think it will be available. So if you're just gonna search for Global AI Developer Days on YouTube, you can find out all these beautiful videos with all the keynotes on different topics. I'm just like checking briefly what's there, and I see like Azure AI innovations at Microsoft, AI skills beyond developing, MLOps for continuous learning, improving the fairness and reliability of AI, developer essentials for the new era of AI, explore the possibilities of AI. So there are a lot of things happening simultaneously, different panel discussion, speaking up. So it's cool. I was showing it's 46 locations all over the world right now. Cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's up to 1st November. So.
It's up to.
Oh, it was YouTube video, I assume, right?
What was that?
I think it was how if you open YouTube, probably that was that. Okay, we'll gradually soon rounding up. I think we have approximately like 10-ish minutes left. Yeah, so you can use them or for asking any questions you want related to these workshops or PyLadies Amsterdam or Python probably in general. Probably. Yeah. And I think then for upcoming events, a couple of them will be, I think this year there will be still online, and we're planning some offline events for the next year. So for those who wants to join us and see each other faces again, there will be definitely some of the events. But we are not capable of guaranteeing that we're not going to run 12 events next year offline. So definitely the majority will be online, but a couple of them will be offline. And as a teaser, I think, so for the next upcoming event, it will be dedicated to PyTorch. Right, Nancy?
Yes, seems
Yeah.
like it.
So I'll get back to it. And if you're like curious, as I mentioned, this Global AI Developers Days, they're running up to 4th November. So if you just Google Global AI Developer Days, you can also join other events in other countries. Probably if you see that something sparks your interest, like interesting topic or interesting workshop, go for it. So it's running until 4th of November, including 4th of November. Yeah. And I think getting back to our events, so if it will be an offline event, we'll definitely have stream to it. Although we notice in our own experience, so it's pretty hard, I would say, around hybrid events. But anyway, we're gonna do our best to make sure that those who can join us offline can join still online. So we're gonna aim for that. And if any one of you is interested in MLOps, we're gonna have an upcoming event, joint event with a really big MLOps community in February, and that we're gonna run offline. So you can say for now. 100% guarantee of offline events. Okay, no, 100 is too much. It's too ambitious, probably. 99 and 90s. That in February there will be a joint event with a big MLOps a community dedicated to MLOps. So for those who are interested in it, that's what will be upcoming. And if you are living in the Netherlands, I also recommend PyData Eindhoven conference. That's eventually going to happen 2nd of December. So it's also something to keep in mind. And if you're interested to talk, you still have a time to submit your talk until the 2nd of November. So if you're just curious, I just drop it in a chat right now. If you're curious, and drop it in the comment chat. That's the link to the PyData Eindhoven conference at the end of December. And it's a physical conference, so it's offline. And if it's near, oh, Nancy, I forgot about you. Can you imagine that?
What? No.
I forgot about medical data event. Wait a second. I'm gonna also post a link here because our Nancy, literally it's Friday, 3rd of November. It's Friday, right?
It's Thursday. This Thursday.
Thursday. Sorry, I'm making things up. You see. So I'm just also dropping this in the chat. It will be deep dive data series medical data event. Eventually, it will be about working with medical data. There will be, let's say, challenges that we have in medical data, and then there will be panel discussion. And our Nancy gonna lead this panel discussion. So if you're interested, especially in medical data, feel free to join. And if I'm not mistaken, there are 2 options, online and offline. So, and we're doing it together. So it's organized by Innovation Center for Artificial Intelligence. So yeah, and it's online, and offline parts will be in Nijmegen at Radboud University location. But both links are in the chat. So for all our events, just follow our Meetup page, our LinkedIn page, or YouTube, whatever you prefer to follow. That's where we announce our events. We have a couple of people who, from time to time, looking at the GitHub, so to see are there any repos popping up. If there are repos popping up, it means logically that this event is coming. So any form of will work, I would say. And it's at least our local events, and also other events such as this Innovation Center for Artificial Intelligence, working with medical data, and PyData Eindhoven conference in the 2nd of December. That's what's on the list. I would say soon, will be soon. Yeah. Nancy, I think I mentioned all upcoming events, right?
Yes, I'm not sure if we have December planned already or.
Yeah, so the original idea for December was like to have this joint event with this big community dedicated to MLOps, but because in their capabilities, they asked to move it to February. That's where we're moving it. And for now, like there are a couple of options available. So we're gonna take a look what it will be. Because for those who are with us for a long time, they know that our concept is mostly workshops and once per year like talks with a different community, which is dedicated or to Python or to a topic related to what we're doing. And there is also that's what we want to say. And this year, our plan was to do it in December with this community, but it's moved now to February. that event will be offline in the center of Amsterdam, really close to, for those who live in Amsterdam, really close to Wijzelgracht Dorpin. So it's really close to, and in the centrum. Close to public transport. So that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, my brain just doesn't want to cooperate with me anymore after the whole working
It's
day.
been a long day.
Yeah, and the evening. So that's why we're gonna take a look. So we know exactly what's gonna happen in November, but for December we're still like trying out different options. But I would love to keep to have it offline, but we will see how it's going on because it's December. It means there will be Christmas, and usually we run in events at the end of the month, and end of the month means Christmas. So it will be pretty hard to get a space for the Christmas. That's what probably we're gonna having it online, but we will see. Anyway, we will keep you updated as we do.
I see no more questions on YouTube or here either, so that's good.
Yeah, I think as I mentioned, everybody is just in the flow, because you need to focus, you need to concentrate on what you're doing. And then me talking in the background. But at least I see some like comments may mention like, okay, thanks for the links. So yeah, it's good to know. Oh, and I think I forgot the most important part. So we also have a global PyLadies Slack channel. I will also share the link to it. Wait a second, it's pretty important. And I explain right now why it's important. So the link is in the chat again. And why it's important? This is the global Slack where all members of PyLadies present. And if you got stuck, if you have any questions, you can always get back there. And there is a channel called Help Me. And if you post your question in this Help Me channel, there will be people from the whole world, from different time zones that could pick it up and answer you. So that's pretty valuable, I would say, resource to use. And there are also different channels, different events running PyLadies globally. So you can join also probably some of them from your own home if it's remote. Or if you are not from the Netherlands, you can always refer to the local community of PyLadies. Good, we just get comments that thanks for the links and the help. Much appreciated. Yeah, so folks, for us it's time to finalizing it for today. It was a long day. It's also Monday. We usually do our events on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And Monday and Friday we try to keep intact. But for now, because of some limitations, we have to do it on Monday. But thank you so much for being with us for these 2 hours. Thank you for getting and acquiring new knowledge. And I do hope that today you learned something really, really valuable for you. Nancy, any word, piece of wisdom from your side?
Not really, just I hope it was useful for everyone, and thank you for attending, for paying attention, for the questions online. And see you next time.
Yeah. And now we're gonna stop. Thank you, pretty nice workshop. I think we can stop the stream for now, right?
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.